Well, folks, Antonio T. Smith Jr. is doing it again.
He's done it again.
Yes, he has. Giving away so much knowledge just to help you succeed. Walk out of the middle class. Become a multimillionaire. He is giving away his book just for you.
The name of that book? The Richest Man in the Trash Can. You want to make sure you get this book. Here's why.
If you are someone who is tired, frustrated, irritated of the day-to-day schedule of waking up, going to work, going back home, going to sleep just to do it all over again, not being able to spend time with your family, you just got married, you just had kids, or you take care of your parents and you're not there to do it, this is the book for you.
And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? This book is free 99. Yes, you heard me. Free 99. Okay? All yours for free.
Yes. Free 99. All you have to do is just pay shipping and handling.
That's it.
$9.95 just to get your free book. This book is a life changer. I'm trying to tell you guys, everything in this book is what Antonio taught myself and Grace that enabled us to retire. Yes, we are retired and we haven't even hit our 40s yet.
Woo!
I'm just saying.
I got a few months to go. Don't worry about it.
Shh. Don't nobody need to know that, girl. You don't look it.
That's it.
Go get it. Go get it and walk yourself out of the middle class into the life you deserve. Walk yourself into abundance. Abundance is freedom, and this book is your journey out.
You can plant better.
You can dominate.
Future. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, as we are starting to record, we have the most fantastic people in all the world on this Let's Talk Tuesday. People from the Carolinas, from the Floridas, from the Ohios, relocated to the Floridas, from Maui, all the way to Grand Old Texas. It's just a wonderful time to have all of you here. I can't wait to meet all of you in person. In the meantime, the person who made me famous, the person who keeps making me famous and keeps me on international interview after interview after interview with A-list celebrity after A-list celebrity has something to tell us about some personal development. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you my friend, my right-hand man, my road dog, the Deaunna Marie Mitchell. Take it away.
Just don't give my whole government name. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight I just want to share with you something that I've been reading. Our dear friend, Dr. Shannon R. Clark, recommended a book to us called The Untethered Soul. It is The Untethered Soul, The Journey Beyond Yourself by Michael A. Singer. Now, when I first opened this book, the first word just had all my attention. So the first sentence is, in case you haven't noticed, you have a mental dialogue going on inside your head that never stops. So that's the first thing I want to talk about, the conversation in your head, because it's a part of releasing the energy that you have stored inside of you. With the conversation in your head, I don't know about you, but have you ever noticed how when you're sitting alone, there's like this conversation going on in your head, and both of the voices are yours. When you're in a group of people, there's a conversation going on in your head. Both of the voices are yours. When you're with family, when you're out to eat, sometimes even when you're at a movie, there's a consistent conversation going on in your head. And not all these conversations are healthy for you. So one of the things that Mr. Michael talks about is that one of the conversations that he gave as an example was like when you're trying to go to sleep and you can't sleep because there's something that you need to do or something that you thought about doing or a thought that popped in your head as you're laying down. So you ask yourself, what am I doing? I can't go to sleep yet. I forgot to call Fred. I remembered in the car, but I didn't call. If I don't call now, oh, wait, it's too late. shouldn't have called it. I shouldn't call him now. I don't even know why I thought about it. I need to fall asleep. Oh, shoot, now I can't fall asleep. I'm not tired anymore. But I have a big day tomorrow and have to get up early. So how many of you guys have had this conversation? How many of you have? Okay. Another thing he said was he was talking about the voices being confusing, because one point you're having, as Hill said last night, one point you have this decision that you have made and it's a great decision, and then the next thing, as things start getting tight and you start getting nervous or however you feel, now you're having a complete opposite conversation in your head. And so this particular conversation, this conversation was, I think I should get married. No, you know you're not ready. You'll be sorry. But I love him. Oh, come on. You felt that way about Tom. What if you had married him? So, there's several different conversations that you have going on in your head at the same time. And as I'm sitting here reading this book, I realized how many of the conversations that I've had to myself, between myself, that have gone completely downhill, that I have allowed to ruin my day, that I have allowed to cause any kind of conflict within my life. What are these conversations, and why am I having them, and how do I stop them? Because again, not all conversations that you have are beneficial to you. So I think as Mr. Michael Finger is writing, he says, and this helped me. This really helped me. And now I just have songs that play in my head, like consistently. There's a song always playing in my head. One of the things he recommended was take that voice and make it another person. Like, take that voice in your head, every time it starts talking to you, every time you have this conversation, make it an actual person that's sitting next to you. And see how much you actually talk to that person versus how much that person actually talks to you. And I did that. And one of the things he said was, you'll realize just how annoying that person is and how much you wouldn't want to be around that person, or how much you wouldn't want to be that person, or how much you would just be like, can you just go somewhere and shut up and leave me alone? So I actually did this practice. I actually did this. And I was sitting here and I spent a lot of time in the car. As Antonio said, I'm his road dog. You know, we always in the car. Well, it was one time I think I was either dropping off my son or going to pick him up or doing something. And the conversation started in my head, so I imagined the person sitting in the passenger side, and I'm just driving. And I'm driving. And I actually caught myself looking over like, dude, would you just shut up? That's how much conversations happen in your head. When you actually do that, you'll realize that the person talking is not really you. The person responding is you. The person, it's your, let me see if I can remember how he said it. He said it's your, it's like your subconscious having a conversation with you. There was another book that I read that Coach D actually brought up in one of our conversations called, and Antonio, I need you to help me, Dr. Joe Dispenza, The Habit of Breaking Yourself. And in this book, it talks about how your subconscious, how you have trained it for survival. And because you've trained it for survival, anything outside of that, anything away from that, it's going to fight you because it's living. And Antonio always tells us anything alive will fight. It will fight to stay alive. So what I understood out of the combination of both books and Antonio's teaching is that my subconscious is forcing these conversations, and I'm responding to it, and I'm going to that place with this voice in my head because at the time it starts making sense to me. And another thing Joe Dispenza said is, if you're trying to break the habit of being yourself, there's 5% of you that's working to break the habit, but that 95% of you is still the same. So it's going to fight, and it's going to work, and it's going to try to wear you down. That's what the conversations in your head is doing. The subconscious, the way that you have trained your subconscious, regardless of if it's a healthy way to protect yourself or an unhealthy way to protect yourself, either way it goes, you have trained your subconscious to protect you. If you've been hurt, you've trained your subconscious, okay, next time this happens, it's not going to happen again. Remember this happened and protect yourself. When you are, and that's in any aspect of life. When you're a kid and you fell and scraped your knee, you remember that incident, and so you can protect yourself not to do that again. You train your subconscious to, okay, remember, when you ride your bike, don't ride your bike with flip-flops, because then either the front or the back is gonna hit the ground, or something's gonna happen, and the bike is gonna flip, and you're gonna fall and hurt yourself. It happened to me recently. I was carrying, my son was asleep. I was carrying out of the car. The driveway had a little, you know how your driveway, part of it is down and the other part humps up? Well, I tripped over it. And I was in more fear of my son falling and hitting the concrete than I was of myself. So I trained my subconscious to, any time I walk past that portion, to make sure I step higher than normal. That's what's going on with the conversation in your head. So when you're making a business decision, well, no, we shouldn't do that, because remember last time we did this and this is what happened. So you really shouldn't have that, but in your head, but this sounds like a really good deal. When you have friendships, and the friendship, you've had friendships before, but now you're in a really good friendship, someone who's an actual friend, you're having the conversation, girl, remember the last time you had a friend and this happened, you know, you can't trust this one, but this one is different from the other. Like, these are the conversations you have in your head. So take that person that goes against everything that feels good to you and that bumps up against that, and make them a whole nother person. And every time you have that conversation going on in your head, imagine that person sitting next to you. And they keep talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. And at a point, you're going to understand, you're just running your mouth just to be running your mouth. I'm fine. Then you can release that. This is all related to releasing energy, because the conversations in your subconscious are attached to an energy that you've been holding on to. The next part of the book, not the next part, but another chapter will actually, yes, the second part of the book actually discusses, called experiencing energy. And what Mr. Singer says is, your heart is like a center of pure, unadulterated energy. It's just all energy. And what he says is, it's an infinite energy. You know, there's one that says, if you concentrate on a thought and another thought interferes, you will have to assert an opposing force to fight the interfering thought. That requires energy, and it can wear you out. So have you ever been in a point where you have a thought come up, you're having a conversation in your head, and by the end of that conversation, you are completely worn out? Because you exerted so much energy during this conversation that you're tired now. It's like, you know what, I'm tired, I don't want to talk anymore. But you haven't had a conversation with anybody. You've been talking to yourself with the conversation in your head. One of the greatest examples that he gave that made me understand the most, which is why I want to help you guys release energy, is that every time something happens to you, you lock that energy within you. And what he says is, it's an unfinished mental and emotional energy pattern, and it's stored inside of you. When something comes up, let's say something happened to you years ago as a kid. You were shut in a dark room and somebody scared the crap out of you. You were bitten by a dog, or not even bitten, but you were just chased by a dog and it just scared you. You were in a car accident. You heard your parents fighting one night and it did something to you. You stored that energy within you. And because that energy is stored within you and you've never released it, it's just going in a cycle inside of you. It's just cycling inside of you over and over again. Until one day you're locked in a dark room, and every fear that you felt in that dark room as a child is resurfaced. That's because that energy has now been triggered. You see a dog running down the street and you're instantly scared. That's because that energy has been triggered. And because you didn't release the energy when it first happened, it's coming up again, because all it's been doing is just circling and cycling inside of you. Mr. Singer gave the greatest example that I could possibly, I couldn't have given or even thought of this great example. So he was saying how there was a guy who was driving down the street, and I'm looking for the story so that way I can tell it to you. There was a guy driving down the street, and he saw this blue Mustang, and it belonged to his girlfriend. And as he's driving, he sees that there's another passenger in the car. Like, his girlfriend's not driving, there's somebody else in the car, and they're leaning over, like they're all booed up driving, basically. And everything, like, you know how you would feel if you saw who you was supposed to be with booed up with somebody else. Like, you know how you would feel. Well, he never let that energy go. So let's travel forward in time. It's 5 years later. He's married, 2 kids. They're driving down the highway. They're having a wonderful time as a family. And he sees a Mustang, not a blue Mustang, but a Mustang. Driving down, pulls up next to him, 2 people in the car, cuddled up and booed up together. Every part of him shifted. He went from being extremely happy to being anxious, angry, hurt, frustrated, confused, just like that. That's because the energy was triggered and it resurfaced, and because he didn't let it flow through him the first time, it came back up and it resurfaced. How many of you have stored energy within you from years ago that gets triggered every time something happens to you, and it just comes right back up? It changes your whole mood. It changes your whole attitude. You could walk into a room completely happy, see somebody that reminds you of something that happened to you years ago, and now you completely change the entire atmosphere in the room because you want it to be felt because of how you feel. That's because you didn't release the energy. So let me explain this energy to you and how I understood the release of the energy. See, this energy is locked within you because you locked yourself up. So there's no energy flowing in, and there's no energy flowing out. Once you decide to open back up, now there's an energy flow again. So my question to you is, what energy is flowing? Do you have the stored up energy flowing, or do you have new energy flowing through you? See, what happened with this gentleman was this particular energy, he allowed it to come in and he locked it. So it didn't have the opportunity to flow through. Antonio uses a great example, and he's done it before. He said, when you see the moon, you're like, oh, that's a beautiful moon, and you keep on moving. That's what you don't do with the energy that you have locked inside of you, and that's what you're supposed to do with the energy. You're supposed to let energy flow through you, because if you lock it, it just gets stuck, and it just keeps cycling and cycling and cycling within you. So what he said to do with the energy, and mind you, this happens with both positive and negative energy. What you do is you let the energy flow through you. See, a lot of times we lock ourselves because we don't want to feel the pain. We don't want to feel the hurt. But we also lock ourselves because we want to hold on to that amazing experience that we had, and we never want to let it go. See, either way it goes, when you block the energy within you, you don't allow for any other energy to flow through you, period. And when you're blocked mentally, you're blocked emotionally, so you can't learn anything new, you can't feel anything new, and then when you're trying to go, your gut feeling, you can't because that energy is still blocked within you. And the energy that you have blocked within you is stopping anything else from flowing in and out. And what he said was, there are two kinds of experiences that can occur that block your heart, block your energy. You are either trying to push energies away because they bother you, or you're trying to keep energies close because you like them. In both cases, you're not letting them pass, and you're wasting precious energy by blocking the flow through resisting and clinging. He said the alternative is to enjoy life instead of clinging to it or pushing it away. The gentleman's entire mood changed from an incident that happened 5 years ago because he was trying to block. We hold on to positive things that have happened to us in the past, and we don't allow any new experiences because we're clinging. If you just keep yourself open and let the energy flow, you unlock unimaginable things into your life. What I started doing is I'm not sure how anybody else feels blocked energy or how you feel energy flow through you. But me, I've noticed here recently, what I've started doing is when I feel like something is building up in me, I take a deep breath and I say, I release this energy. I allow it to flow through me. I allow myself to feel these emotions, and I release it. And I've noticed that my chest does not get as tight as it is. The conversations in my head have minimized the song. And the songs that play in my head are actually at sources conversation with me. But when I release the energy, and mind you, I release it every time it comes up. I need everyone to understand something. This is not a one-time thing. I expressed to Antonio it was last week, that there are two songs that have been playing in my head and catching my attention, and there's a theme in them. They're both Christian songs, and one of them says, "Here I am on my knees again." The other one is, "Here I am, gracefully broken." They're basically saying, I'm giving my heart, here's my heart again. Like, I'm giving you my heart again. And I noticed, and in the theme of that, I noticed that things don't happen just once. It's a consistency of releasing, because you had a consistency of storing up energy. You had a consistency of holding on to things. You had a consistency of doing that. So it's a consistency. There's an again and again and again process of releasing. So it's not just a one-time thing. When you feel yourself reminiscing on something great that happened, take a deep breath. Say, I'm grateful that it happened, but now I release this energy. I allow myself to feel the emotions of that, and now I release it, because now you're opening yourself up to feel something even greater. When you feel yourself being triggered by something that has happened to you in the past, breathe. Take a deep breath, and as you release that breath, say, I release this energy. I allow it to flow through me. I allow myself to feel this, but I am releasing it. And it will open you up. It really will. It's one of the biggest things that he said to me, which goes along the line of again and again, and also goes along the line of allowing yourself to feel. He said, of course it hurts when it comes up. See, the thing is, we don't ever want to feel pain again, or we're holding on to this great emotion so much that we're missing out on something else. He said that it was stored up pain. It was stored with pain. The energy that is going in you, the energy that's circling in you, is stored with pain. So, of course, it's going to hurt when you release it. But it's going to release the pain. As long as you hold the energy within, you hold the pain within. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of holding on to pain. I'm tired of holding on to what was, and I'm ready to get to what can be. And I'm talking on both, holding on to both pain and love. pain and happiness. Release them both so you can get less pain and more love. Another thing he said is, which is something that Antonio tells us as well, he says you have to decide if you want to continue. You have to decide. You have to make a decision. Do I decide to stay in this painful place for the rest of my life and not live my life? Do I decide to hold on to this one good moment and miss every other good moment because I'm still clinging on to this one? Or am I going to decide to release them both and just enjoy my life? Well, you have to decide if you want to continue to walk around with stored pain blocking your heart and limiting your life. The alternative is to be willing to let it go when it gets stimulated. And that's our biggest problem. We're not willing to let it go. It hurts so much that we want to block it again, not understand that we're blocking it in us, and I'm going to say it that way. It's going to get triggered again. It's going to happen. And the biggest thing that he said, it only hurts for a minute, and then it's over. The pain you have stored up in you, when you go to release it, it's only going to hurt for a minute, and then it's over. When you got that shot when you was in the hospital, it only hurt for a minute, then it was over. When you had your kids, it hurt a little longer than a minute, but it only hurt for a moment, and then it was over. When you scraped your knee, when you fell off your bike, it only hurt for a minute, then it was over. You didn't hold on to the pain. You didn't keep taking off the scab so it can hurt over and over and over again. You didn't keep holding on to your stomach and pulling out your stitches so the pain will hurt over and over again. You didn't do that. You did it just like you do the moon and the sun every single day. Oh, man, it's a beautiful day. And you kept on moving. Oh, man, that full moon is beautiful tonight. Look how big it is tonight. It's all big and orange. And you kept on moving. Do that to the energy that's inside of you. Feel the pain. Feel the love. Feel the joy. Feel the happiness. Stop protecting yourself from what was so you can experience what is and what can be. And that's both pain and love. Again, you're storing both energies within you. You're blocking your heart to anything else in this world you can experience. You're only limiting your experience while you're here. Les Brown says the richest place on the planet is the graveyard. That's because they blocked all of the energy within them, and they never let it out so they could live and experience the greatest them that could be. And because of that, other people didn't get to experience the greatest them that they could be. If I 100% blocked myself off from everything that has ever happened to me, I wouldn't be able to experience meeting Talisha and Phil and Susan and Pam, Grace, Antonio, John, Michelle. I wouldn't be able to experience any of that. But also, if I decided to hold on to all the positive that's ever happened in my life, my son would be the worst child ever because he would be spoiled rotten because I'd just be clinging on to that little baby that I held on to when he first gave him to me. I will forever be stuck in my childhood clinging on to whatever happiness that was there instead of growing and becoming an adult and experience all the crazy stuff that happens to adults. I don't like adulting, but it's a wonderful experience. So, ladies and gentlemen, just release the energy. Take a deep breath. Allow yourself to feel whatever it is you're feeling right now. And allow the energy to flow through you. You'll sleep better. The conversations will be a little less the more you do it, and be consistent with it. Thank you for joining me today for Let's Talk Tuesday. Everyone have an amazing day today. If you have any questions, Or boss man, you want me to turn it back over to you? Okay. Let me turn it back over to boss man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard the lesson for today. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Lots of good things I could point out, but I won't. I'm going to start off with Pam Norris, as she was feeling it the whole time, and then we'll kick off from that positive energy. Go ahead, Pam.
Yeah. All my years as a therapist, and most of the patients I have who had traumas, early traumas, who were now diagnosed with a mental illness, it really, most of therapy was really about doing exactly what you talked about, Deaunna, getting them to release the energy. And for anybody who may be on this show who's looking for some ways to practice, one of the things I used to teach, and I found was helpful, and my patients found, was Qigong breathing exercises. I'll spell it in chat for you. It's Qigong. And it's a Tibetan practice. It has movement, but you can just do it with breathing. And it allows you to just sort of release with breath all that energy. And that's really a lot of what many of us have. Many of the people I dealt with were rape survivors. I'm a rape survivor. And I know that oftentimes the pain that you talked about, Deaunna, about having gone through that experience can be a block, and that it conjures up again, not only blocking you, but sometimes you go back there again because it's almost like you're still working through how couldn't I stop it? All the what ifs. And so at some point you have to release it and move past it. So I thought it was an excellent class you had today, because this is something we all, deal with. We all have had issues and traumas in our background that can often stand in the way of us moving forward. And as we're in business, it affects other decisions we make, business decisions, not just our personal life, because we are our business and our personal life together. We can't divide them. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Pam Norris, and thank you for the putting the breathing techniques in chat, because whether we really understand it or not, the breathing actually does work. And I used to think it was crazy when people say, just breathe. I'm like, what's that gonna do for me? But I've learned that I take in the deep breath so much where I can't do it anymore, and then I just release it. And so thank you so much. I'm actually going to copy and paste this myself in my notes so I can go back to it as well, and definitely Google it and start doing it myself. There's no wrong way to release the energy. So thank you for your transparency, Ms. Pam. Thank you very much, and thank you for sharing as well. Ms. Susan, right before I get to you, Talisha, you asked, how do you release the energy that doesn't serve you?
You kind of answered it already.
Okay. Okay. All right. And if you have any questions, like you always do, just text me. I have no issues with that, so please do. All right, Ms. Susan, you had your hand up.
That was excellent. I was thinking of, I think we hold on to so much from our childhood, and thinking back, or any tragedy that you've had in your life, and then you're not able to release it. On a daily basis, similar to what Pam was saying, Tai Chi is very good, because you're bringing the energy into you, the energy comes in, and then you push it away, in and out. And I actually do that every morning, just wherever I'm standing, wherever I am. When I take the dogs out, I do that. Also yoga, the yoga breathing. For so many years, I just, I wanted everything fast, and I wanted to burn calories and this and that. But yoga is phenomenal. And I take yoga classes, but once you start, you can do yoga anywhere. I do yoga, with the palm trees. I use them, to do yoga, and the earth. So yoga is a great technique for releasing. And whenever I've got way too much going on, if I can squeeze in a yoga class, it just releases so much. And I highly encourage people to start. And when you take it, you know, there are people all levels. You can get videos for both Tai Chi and yoga, but I encourage a class too, because it's a group energy. And then the release is a group release too. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Susan. Thank you very much for sharing. Tai Chi and yoga are actually two things that I've really been interested in. There's a website that I go to, Gaia.com, GAIA.com. It was actually introduced to me by Antonio, and they actually give you, they do like a whole course on, there's several courses on yoga, like beginner's yoga, exactly what yoga is and how it does help you. So if you've ever been, that's what I'm looking for, questionable or questioning yoga or anything, then you can go there and actually research yoga, get an idea of what it is and how it helps you. So thank you so much, Ms. Susan, for sharing. I really appreciate it. Does anyone else have any questions or anything that you would like to share, anything to help add value to those who are on the call today? The floor is open.
I had a question. Does indecisiveness come from the voices that you talk, you know, what you're speaking of? Is that what causes indecisiveness? Because you have one voice speaking this thing and another voice speaking this.
It does. It causes confusion because you're deciding to do one thing, and if it's something that you have trained your subconscious that gives it a red flag, then you'll have that consistent conversation, and you won't make a decision. You'll go from, man, that sounds like a great idea. Girl, what you talking about? Don't do that. But I mean, you know, it'll really work. Now, you know, the last time you tried to do something like that, this happened. But I know, but this is different. It's no different than the last time. It does cause your indecisiveness comes from you. It comes from the conversations in your head. It also comes from you not releasing the energy. And this is something that Antonio has been trying to tell me for years, and you know how we get when somebody's trying to tell you something, but you're not really trying to hear what they're trying to say because they're right, but you don't want them to be right. It comes from that. So the one thing that Antonio has always taught us is you can't hold two things in your hand at once. You get nowhere with that. You have to make a decision. And regardless of what decision you make, just make a decision, and everything will fall into place for that. And if you want to be spiritual with your deity of choice, but I'm going to say my God, Antonio has taught us also that, well, has taught me as my pastor that God is with you regardless of what decision you make. And what he will do is he will his grace and his mercy allows you to be able to move. He's truly and honestly with you every step. And I know that's hard to believe because sometimes you go through rough stuff, but that is the best that he could do for you because it could be worse. It could honestly be worse. And I see Bossman got a grin on his face. Did you want to step in here, Bossman? Oh, I guess. Okay, I guess not. But just make and I know at this point in time for you, it's easier said than done because I've been there. Every time we've talked to each other, I've always told you, I'm not going to tell you something that I ain't been through myself. I get it. I really do. What I'm saying to you sounds easier, and it sounds easier said than done. But when you actually just make a decision, the weight gets lighter because you've made a decision. So now you're not battling with what to do. Now it's just, okay, let me just move. I've decided to do this. Let me just move in it. I've decided to do that. And let me just do it. Just move in it. And what Antonio has taught us is once you make a decision, everything else just falls away. Everything else not associated with that decision falls away. So being indecisive is because you're holding on to some kind of energy that's trying to that you haven't released, and because of that, the conversation in your head keeps going back and forth, and you don't know what to do. So just take it. Anytime that happens, just take a deep breath and just pause. Release the energy, and then go from there. I hope that helped.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're so very welcome. Sending you air hugs, air hugs, air hugs. Anyone else have anything to say or have a question or just want to add value to anyone else on the call? The floor is open.
Can I speak?
Yes,
Can you
sir,
hear
you
me?
can.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, um, I was listening to what you were saying, and me, I agree with what you were saying because I've had to learn. I guess I can pop that on. Sure, I'm sitting still. Yeah, I've had to learn. Hey, how y'all doing? You know, I've had to learn um, how to allow things to flow through me and around me in order, to get through certain things. One of the things that I've learned with dealing with issues and problems is when I have certain thoughts or when certain emotions hit me or when certain feelings come through, I don't put an attachment to them. And it's, with our thoughts, with our feelings, with our emotions, usually, when we get our most upset is when there's something that we are placing an attachment to it. And I've learned from a gentleman when I got out of the military in '86, I had a breakdown. I spent 2 months in the psych ward at Hines Veteran Hospital, 2 miles away from where I live. And one thing I know that'll get you straight real quick is when you get in a psych ward, you realize that there's people in there crazier than you are. You all right from there. You like, oh, wait a minute, hold up, doc. But they wouldn't let me up out of there. I was like, hey, doc, I'm cool in the gang, man. Oh, no, we must evaluate you. I'm like, oh, I don't need no evaluation. But I ended up being there 2 months. I've been through a series of anger managements and things. I went over a year into that, and some other um, mental evaluations and stuff. I'm a crazy guy in a fun way, not in a mental way. But one of the things, I do is I do that. I don't allow myself like I used to put attachment to anything. And something that I do that some of the people at home find funny is I love animations. And all the animations, from when I was a kid, things like the Jackson 5 cartoons, Herculoids, Johnny Quest. I went and bought the whole series for Batman and Robin of the 60s, Wonder Woman, all of these things, Speed Racer, all of these things, when I'm feeling, a bit over emotional or there's too much going on in my mind, I will actually sit down and watch some of these shows or animations, to relax myself. And because it brings out the child in me. And when it brings out that child, when you're a child, you don't have any worries in the world. Your imagination just run wild and you just flowing with it. So it gets me back into the flow of things. And when it slows my mind down, then once I'm done watching the animation or anything, then I'm able, to get back up, and I sit down and I think for a moment, okay, now let's move through this one at a time instead of trying to do, sometimes we try to deal with too many things at one time. And I just find that that's always helped for me when I get into the animations. It helps me to loosen up, to lose the attachment to whatever it was that was creating all the animosity in my life at that time. And as of lately, I've been realizing it's so tough that I've been removing individuals from my life. Now, they don't understand what's going on. And some people actually, try to stay attached to you when you're telling them, hey, beat it, but they actually, go out of the way to stay attached to you, which, it just blows my mind. It's like, there's a reason I don't talk to you anymore, and my niece helped me out with some, she told me, just the other day, she said, Uncle Johnny, you got to stop being down with OPP. I said, what do you mean OPP? She said, other people's problems. She said, because that helps to create a lot of the animosity in your life. Because one thing about drama, because a lot of the drama majors are gone out of my life now, and I'm starting to feel that Zen place. It's like they say, you know, with drama, you either invite it in your life, you either create it, or you associate with it. That's one of the three ways drama comes into your life, you know. And, you know, I've broken a lot of that up. And, you know, like I said, I just don't allow myself to get attached to anything anymore, you know, emotionally, because it really takes me to a place that I don't want to be. And I just wanted to add that in there, you know. Like I said, it can be done. And one thing about when you're changing things like that emotionally and mentally is that you have to do your due diligence. It's not just going to go away or change, you know, overnight. You have to stick with it. You have to really want to be in that place of sin, or to make that change, or to abate that anger, whatever it is. You have to be diligent about it. It's just like being a crack addict or drug addict. You know, it's not about going there and getting that chip. You know, it's really about, yeah, you get the chip, but it's the due diligence that you put in for not wanting to continue to be an addict. And I come from a long line of alcoholics and drug addicts. So I done been to a whole lot of rehab with folks and everything, even used drugs for years for myself. You know, so it comes with due diligence. You have to really want it, and you can do it. Because once you tell yourself, I can do this, every doggone cell, every doggone molecule, every doggone atom in your body, everything starts to change to go in your favor to making that change. You know, you just have to believe and do the due diligence. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. John Calloway. Now, I have to admit, I'm with you on that. My thing is music, and don't judge me, and coloring books. the really detailed, and, you know, like the flowers and the I forgot what it's called, but it's like not a cute, but the really detailed ones. I love coloring. But thank you, John. Thank you for your transparency, and thank you definitely for sharing with us as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there is not anything anyone else would like to add, it is 6:45, and guess what? We have the Bureau of Dominant Speakers coming up in 15 minutes. We have, yes, adult coloring books. Thank you, Talisa. We have 10 Underhill coming up next. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm really excited. Yes, Jerome, Ken is coming up next. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me this evening. Just remember, just take a deep breath and release it. So all you have to do is release and enjoy life. Live, love, eat, and have a ball. Thank you for joining us this evening for Let's Talk Tuesday. Next week, we have the Grace White Sandals. My Gracie May, I told y'all, I'm the only one who can call her that. So, ladies and gentlemen, and don't forget, Antonio has a new platform. So if you have a question, you can either text it to him or send your video question to 409-500-1546, and he will respond in kind with a video response. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for allowing me to pour into you this evening, and you have an amazing evening. Good night.
Our next guest is the CEO of a Facebook competitor. It is called MeWe. It is a next-gen social platform with a focus on privacy. The company has surpassed 5.5 million members. CEO Mark Weinstein with us now in a Fox Business exclusive. Welcome to the program, Mark. Glad to have you with us. So why the focus on privacy, or taking advantage of Facebook's public stumbles?
Well, Deirdre, I'm one of the guys who invented social networks, and social networks were never invented to be what we call now surveillance capitalism, which is what Facebook is. Their members are not customers to serve. They're data to sell and data to target. So it really, MeWe is a fully fledged social network with all the features people love. The privacy is our Privacy Bill of Rights. We don't sell your data. We don't target you. We don't mess up your news feeds. We have a freemium business model, so everything you love is free, and you can, traditional capitalism, great capitalism. You can spend money on in-app purchases, or you can just enjoy the free service. There's nothing, you can't be targeted for your vote or your opinion It's social media the way it was meant to be.
So then, Mark, honestly, how do you make money? Because we all know when we use Facebook, it's free for the user, but we know because we are not paying that we become the product. So that Facebook is gathering data on
That's
us,
right.
and I think some people even say Facebook isn't a social company, it's a data company. But then how do you make money? Are people paying your company for subscriptions?
No, it's very important. MeWe is free forever. But now we know that the freemium model works, and we're doing great with revenue. We have 2,800 free emojis, but we've got great custom emojis, custom stickers.
So
live
people
voice and
pay
live
you
video
for those.
is a pay option. Right, and live voice, live video, secret encrypted chat. MeWe pages are $1.99 a month, but you reach 100% of your followers all the time. So for $24 a month, you don't have to boost anything. So if you have 500,000 followers or 5,000 followers or 10 million followers, you reach everybody. At Facebook, you reach 5%. And you got to pay to boost, and then their algorithm messes the whole thing up anyhow. So MeWe is really true, pure social media. It's social networking done right, and people love it. Yeah, we're growing organically with no ads, and we're not even marketing MeWe, and we're growing by tens of thousands of people every day.
So, Mark, we have some stats about your company. As you're speaking, 5.5 million users right now, which is impressive. But how are you going to keep growing that? Because one telephone is not so fun. Two telephones work. Basically, you need more people to sign up.
Well, people are signing up, Deirdre, every day. And here's the beautiful thing about MeWe. So we also have some major deals that are not announced with some huge influencers worldwide. But even without them, we grew 405% last year. We're targeting, we actually target we'll have over 30 million members by the end of this year, over 150 million by the end of next year. We're growing twice as fast already this year. And people also move in groups. This is really, we have never seen something like this. So constituencies move to people. So many people are censored or blocked or violated on Facebook, and they all move to MeWe. So the growth is fantastic.
Quick question, Mark. You say Facebook, as an aside, should not be broken up. Why is that?
Listen, we compete with Facebook great. Snap competes with Facebook. Twitter competes with Facebook. Breaking up Facebook doesn't solve the problem that they are a surveillance company transacting data. By the way, also transacting data from non-members. They track all of us. Remember, the Cambridge Analytica CEO said they had data on 230 million every adult in America. Now, Facebook's new rules that you talked about today, that's a bunch of BS. Facebook has had rules the whole time. They break their rules all the time. That's the problem. Rules at Facebook mean nothing.
Mark, we thank you very much for the time. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations on the growth.
Thank you, Deirdre.
I'm not sure if you already know this, but you're already absolutely perfect. You're already absolutely great, and you're already living in massive abundance. The most important things that you have is not what you have, it's not what you do, it's what you know. Because the people who do know what you need to know to lead the middle class, they're in the top 1%, and they control 96% of the world's income. 97% of this world is trading time for money, and that is not the way to become rich, it's not the way to become wealthy, and it is absolutely not the way to leave the middle class. There are 7.8 billion people in the world right now, and they all want to learn how to make money and how to leave the middle class. But the way to become a master at anything is to learn all the rules and then bend them to your favor. Right now in this world, there are 2,057 billionaires. Right now. So if you think becoming a billionaire is impossible, that's 2,057 people that have already proved that impossibility incorrect. And if you think that's crazy, there are 46.8 million millionaires in the world, worldwide right now. Now think about that. 46.8 million millionaires, and that number grows 1,730 millionaires every single day. Money is everywhere. You don't need to max out your credit cards. You don't need to borrow from granddad and grandma. Just look behind me. Look at all the wealth sitting behind me in this junkyard. It's insane how much money is everywhere, and you don't need to go out there and beg, borrow, and steal to get it. You just need to know the rules of making money and how to leave the middle class. Essentially, all you need to know is the algorithm of making money, the rules of making money. All you need to know is what to do and how to do it, and you can leave the middle class. Any industry, yoga, golf, underwater basket weaving, clipping fingernails. It doesn't matter. All you have to do is know how to do it, how to get it done, and then find somebody to teach you how to do it, how to get it done, and you will be able to leave the middle class. If you're not getting my point, it's real simple. Whatever you have up here, as long as you understand the rules of leaving the middle class, as long as you understand how to get money, you can take what's up here and get wealthy from what you already have. Right now, the very thing you know up here is already being searched 1,000 times a second on Google. Someone right now, actually 1,730 people right now are going to become a millionaire from the stuff that you have in your head. Why can't this be you? I mean, it's 1,730 people with your ideas that are no better than you, that are going to leave the middle class, become a millionaire. Why are you not next? So how do we do this? How do we take what you know and apply it to objective money-making secrets and then allow you to leave the middle class? How do we take you from where you are and let you escape to where you want to go? So how do we make all this money or take all this knowledge from the Warren Buffetts, from the Elon Musk? How do we take everything that everyone before you has done, and how do we take all of that and then put it in your head so you can leave a legacy for your family? My name is Antonio T. Smith Jr. 32 years ago, I lived in a trash can. That's right, from 6 to 14, I had no running water, no electricity, no anything, and somehow I'm in the top 1% today. Not because I had the right background, not because I had a silver spoon in my mouth, simply because being homeless made me learn how to make money. I retired when I was 29 years old. I'm more than likely younger than you. I'm one of the top 1% income earners in one of the richest countries in the world. What I learned how to do when I was 6 years old was learn how to generate enough money to eat some cookies so I wouldn't die to death from starvation. From there, I learned how to go from cookies to a meal. From a meal to clothes to shelter to everything else that supplied my necessary needs. When I was 6, I was forced to learn how to make money, and now that's what I'm going to do and help you do. I've seen amazing results. I have my own economy. I've homeschooled my own children, and I wrote a book that teaches you every single thing that I know about making money, every single thing that other people know about making money, and most importantly, all the stuff that we don't tell you. Because the truth is, and you know it like I know it, the most honest, the most hardworking, unselfish people on planet Earth live in the middle class. Yet, your honesty, your unselfishness, your devout religion-going self is not enough to get to the top 1%, and that's not fair. The second half of my life has been not about how much money I make, but how I will be remembered from all the money that I have made. And I've been trying to teach everybody how to get out the middle class. I'm the crazy guy famous on the internet for trying to create 100,000 millionaires. I've created 8 so far. I got a 9th one on the way, all the way from India. That's pretty cool. And what I want to tell you is something very simple. It's been hard. It's been absolutely hard to help people leave the middle class, not because of the people, because the system would rather keep you being someone else's money instead of you having your own economy and having the money come find and flow to you. It was frustrating because I knew that anybody can make money. And if you knew what I knew, you would change your life. Over the last few years, I've built a large following of over 500,000 people every month that pay me for me to give them advice. Well, that's been exciting for me. And the cool thing is I've created thousands of six-figure earners. I've created millionaires. I've created people who can live their dreams and hold on to their legacies. And now my eyes are on you to create you to what you need to be great. I have been teaching my principles and these principles to hundreds of thousands of people around the world, every country, all continents, and anyone who has taken them seriously, written them down, and applied them have a 100% success rate of leaving the middle class. I've taught these secrets to my following and my inner network, and I've watched them go from 4 figures to 5 figures, 5 figures to 6 figures, 7 figures, all the way to 8. Everything that I've ever learned from millionaire mentors, billionaire mentors, and everything I learned from being homeless, and everything that got me into the top 1%, I have placed inside of a book. To date, it is the longest book that I've ever written, the best book that I've ever written, and that book is called The Richest Man and the Trash Can, and I'm offering it to you today for free. This book is going to show you how to become wealthy into the top 1% and leave the middle class. This book is going to give you a step-by-step plan if you're 30 years old, all the way to 70 years old, how to get into the top 1%. If you're a teenager, how to get to the top 1%. If you're a millennial, how to get to the top 1%. It's going to teach you how to make 6 figures immediately, teach you how to get to $1 million immediately, and all that good stuff. Plus, I'm going to give you the 36 objective laws of leaving the middle class. Plus, I'm going to give you every last one of my secrets that have made me rich. You have to understand that leaving the middle class is the most important fight that you're going to have in your life. To be honest with you, and you can kind of relate to this, it almost takes $450,000 a year just to be broke in America. And that's just in America. If you don't leave the middle class, which is actually an illusion, then you are going to have a really hard time. Think about it for a second. Most of you going to be watching this are going to be baby boomers, and you've been sold a bad check. They lied to you. Your retirement was not enough for you to live comfortable, and I'm going to give you this book for free so you can figure out how to triple your retirement and then quadruple your retirement, and then, as Grant Cardone would say, 10x your retirement so you can live the life that's worthy of you. I want you to remember that leaving the middle class is the most important battle that you could ever face in your entire life, especially for your family. So consider this video, this book, your friendly tap on the shoulder. I want to send you a free copy of this book because I believe that abundance is your birthright. I believe that abundance is freedom, and I believe that this book is right for you. In fact, I believe in that so much that I will send you the book for free. All you have to do is cover the cost of shipping. I'll eat the cost. I'll take the loss. And all you have to do is get the book and dominate your reality right now and apply the principles so you can be the best person for your life that is yours. Fill out the form sitting right there to the right. Go ahead, dominate your reality. I can't wait to send you my book. I can't wait to meet you. I can't wait to have you as someone that's been on the journey with me. Antonio T. Smith Jr., you can plan better. You can dominate.